guys, Davey Wavy here, creator of Himeros TV. So today I want to talk about a word that has a lot of weight for us, and that word is faggot. And I'm going to share a story, and like so many great stories, this one starts on Grindr, but I also just want to recognize that this is a particularly vulnerable story for me to share, so I'm feeling a little bit tender about it. I was scrolling through Grindr, as so many of us do, and I came across this profile for this guy that was really sexy. He was like 29, really tall, really athletic, really hung, and if I'm completely honest with you, he was kind of like the 29-year-old embodiment of the like jock that would have beat me up in high school. I'm chatting with him and he was like, oh hey, just so you know, like I'm on here for work, like I'm a straight guy looking to get hired. And I was like, oh, like, no judgment, just not what I'm looking for. And, you know, a lot of the models that we work with Himeros TV are sex workers. I don't have a stigma around sex work. It's just not something that I've ever explored. And then I was like, but just out of curiosity, how much does it cost? And he's like, it's $100. And I was like, okay, so for $100, like you're gonna drive to my house, like whip it out. You can't order Uber Eats. Like if I order a pizza, it's $100. And he's like, yeah, it's $100. And I was like, why would I let $100 stand between me and my fantasy? Like the fulfillment of my fantasy. I was like, fucking do it. So I'm like, all right. So he comes over and he's as advertised. And he's like, yo, what do you want me to call you? Which it caught me off guard because he wasn't saying, what's your name? Which I would have answered. He said, what do you want me to call you? And so my knee-jerk reaction was, well, call me faggot. And he goes, all right, faggot, suck my dick. And my knees just like gave out. I was on the ground, and guess what? This faggot made him in like 3 minutes. And the funny thing was that I felt so powerful that like I was in control. I was calling shots. He's over my house. I'm telling him like what I want to do, what to call me. If you could visualize it, like reaching into that word faggot, which he kept calling me throughout the 3 minutes, reaching into that word and like the collective power that that word has held over me for an entire lifetime, just reaching in and like taking it back for myself, that's what it felt like. In those 3 minutes, I healed more than in the 2 years of therapy. He was just getting his by some gay guy. But for me, it was like I'm hanging off the end of his having like a transcendent, like life-changing experience. And so when we create content for Himeros TV, I like to pull from these real life situations because the content has a lot of heart and soul in it. And so we created a scene called I Faggot that explores this dynamic between the word faggot being used violently and then used erotically as an act of reclaiming our power.
I swear, faggot?
No.
You're such a faggot. Such a beautiful faggot.
In one instance, someone using the word faggot against you, you're such a fucking faggot. And then in the other instance, this faggot made you right? You can also imagine it with the punch of a bully cut to the slap of a hand of a lover across that we use sex as a tool to integrate and process some of the trauma that we've experienced as gay men. And as gay men, we have experienced a lot of trauma. Now, I also want to say that for me, this was a really powerful experience. For someone else, this could have been really traumatic. They want to make space for all the different experiences and relationships that people have with that word because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And that's why I'm making this video, not just to share the story, but to see where you're at. What is your experience of the word faggot? And there's not a right or wrong answer. It's not black and white. Like, this isn't a debate. I'm just curious what your relationship is. Is it something that you're like, hey, I never want to hear that word again and I wish I never watched this video? Or is it, I use this word humorously? Or is it, I use this word erotically? I want to know it all in the comments down below. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, listening to my story, feeling tender, but also feeling loved. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, more to come.